So now let us continue with how we can write the data to the external SD card. Now first we need to get the path to the file on the external SD card. Now let me first generate a path to the get a file SD card environment dot get external storage directory. Now this gives me a file object corresponding to the external file storage directory on the SD card. And now I can add any folder to which I can add my files to it. So what I can say is my file is equal to new file SDCard dot get absolute path plus I can add my directory, say my files new. So this is my file which is corresponding to a directory I have created on the SD card, which is named my files new. And now I can check up whether this directory really exists. If not, if it does not exist, then I can create a directory structure for this. Now once it is when the directory structure is there, now I can generate a file f to write is equal to new file corresponding to the directory my file. I can name any file, say new text dot txt. So what exactly have we done is we have got a file object corresponding to the SD card, and then we have generated a new file a directory on the SD card, and in case it wasn't there already, we have generated the directory, and then we have generated a path to the file to whom which we are writing the data to. And now I can say file output stream is equal to new file output stream. Now I cannot use the existing method that we used earlier, as it cannot have a path with slashes. It has a prefixed path to the file structure, so I need to use directly the file output stream and pass this f to write. So this is the file to which we are now writing the data, and now I can obtain a file buffered writer to this, and I can write, and I can then close and say that data has been written. Now what exactly do we need to set up before writing this data to the SD card? We need to set up a permission, which I might have already set up. Yeah, we need to add a permission for write external storage. Now this is a permission we can add through add, use this permission, and we can select from this write external storage. Yeah, so this is the permission you need to add before you start writing to it. And secondly, another mistake is that the emulator that we try to which we use to save the data to the SD card, that must have SD card enabled. So you can check up through this. We can see any emulator, any other emulator, we can just see edit, and here you need to add some values to this. Suppose I say 256 MB, and this is when the card becomes active and you can store memory on this data on this. So we've already added these values to our emulator, so we can directly go to run and try to save the data to the SD card. There's some errors. Oh, uses permission. As we did not select any value, it has added an empty tag to it. So we set up the permissions, we have set up the emulator. We'll just write some text to this. My data for the SD card. So I'll save this to the file. So let's see where this file goes on the DDMS. So this is within the MNT folder. We have the my files new folder that we have generated, and within that we have the new text.txt file. So this is the file structure for where the SD card files go to: MNT, then SD card. Within that we have our own folder, and then we have the new text.txt file to which we have written error. Now to read, we again use the same. I get the file object corresponding to the external directory, and then we have a path plus the file directory name. And now I need not check because we have already written to this file, so it already exists. So I have a file to read, generate a file input stream, and then the buffer reader. So we'll just see how we can even get the data from the file. I'll say again run this. So another thing we can see here is in the meantime, as the emulator starts up the file, we can even put down the direct path to the file as in this way. But what really is not advisable is, because SD cards might have different paths on different emulators. So whereas on one system it might get to the exact path of the file, it might not get the exact path on the other mobile. So it is advisable to get the path to the external storage directory through the environment class. It's not yet loaded. Again, try this. Oh, current task has been put to, so I'll just make some small change. And load it up. There it goes. We have already saved to the SD card. Now we'll just try to load up the file data from the SD card. Yeah. So this is what we had written to the file. So this is how we can read and write to files on the SD card. Already we have seen how we can read and write data to the local file system. So next we'll see how we can use databases to store data